Hello, and welcome to my new podcast, Delving Deep with Endless Curiosity. I'm Donkey Man, and today we have a guest who is an absolute powerhouse in the world of music production. His talents and passion have helped shape the careers of numerous artists, including myself, and he continues to inspire and innovate within the industry. I'm talking, of course, about the multifaceted Spike Leo. In today's episode, we'll delve into Spike's personal and professional journey, discussing significant milestones and mental health issues that come along with the profession. We'll also explore how the ever-changing landscape of the music industry has affected his work, with a particular focus on the balance of life and work, how he overcame those, what he did. But we won't stop there. We'll touch on broader topics such as mental health, as I just said, especially in the music industry, the importance of building a strong team around an artist, and also possible ventures that Spike's got coming up. Of course, we'll hear some amusing stories. So we've got a good story for you at the end with someone who Spike looks up to. So make sure you watch till the end. Hint, it may be Prince, I don't know. But nevertheless, we're thrilled to have Spike Leo on the show today. So grab your headphones, sit back, and get ready for an insightful and entertaining conversation with a true music industry innovator. Let's dive in. How you doing, man?
I'm good, brother.
Yeah, good. So why don't you tell everyone who's watching how they can contact you first off the bat? Just how can they reach you? Where can they see your stuff? Where are we?
Sure. So we're at Spike Leo Music Studios. You can reach me in any way that I could potentially be reachable, which I guess is just like socials and telephone and email. But yeah, I'm trying to spread myself everywhere.
Absolutely.
I took a good break. But
what's your at?
So it's Spike Leo Music.
Spike Leo Music.
Either Spike Leo or Spike. I think everything is pretty much Spike Leo Music now.
Yeah, sick. Yeah, awesome, man. So, I mean, I really appreciate you sitting down, having a chat. Basically, I wanted to start off with your, I suppose, just personal, professional journey. Over the past few years, your career it's continued to grow. I mean, I've known you for 3-4 years now.
Yeah, it's been a while.
And it's definitely, from where I'm sitting, you've definitely, I suppose, gained more clients. Yeah. With your Squad Sundays, you've created all these relationships that are just freaking awesome. How do you think that, is there any milestones that you've personally achieved that you feel stand out, that you feel like, all right, this is the point, especially in music, because I know you did dancing for a while. In music. Was there any point in your life where you're like, all right, this what just happened is justifying me staying here and doing what I'm doing?
Sure. I mean, I'm not one to brag about anything, and I think when I was growing up, I always thought that the milestones that I achieved were were a part of who I am and what makes me this or a performer, and I think they're like different statuses, and they kind of mean less to me now. And what I mean by that is, to have goals and milestones, I think is really important.
Yeah.
But once you achieve them, man, maybe when I was younger, my ego was bigger and it felt really good and it was nice to tell people. But I think now that I'm a bit older, I just don't care and it's not important. It is and it isn't. And I mean that in the sense that, at the end of the day, no one really cares. You make a big achievement, it probably just makes people feel bad because they want it to.
Yeah.
So.
But what about more from a personal standpoint where you have to because with my experience, I've always felt that I need to achieve something in order to justify my time.
Totally.
Especially if I'm not making a good living from it. Back in the day when you're not doing it, you're just
100%, man. And there's so many instances in this career where you, especially in the early days, where you have these moments and you just kind of sit and reflect and you are like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Am I crazy?
Yeah.
Am I not talented? Because there's no one there patting you on the back.
Absolutely, yeah.
Which is why it's really important to have a community around you and friends who are trying to do the same types of things to bounce back and forth. And we're pretty destructive as creatives and artists, and we really like to beat ourselves up.
Yeah.
And it's just you can either embrace the learning curve, and the learning curve never stops. Like, my biggest mentors are people like Pharrell and Timbaland, and these people that I looked up to since I was 15, 16. Yeah. And you look at them in their 50s and they're still just like kids at school learning and absorbing. For me, that's super inspiring, and that kind of helps tell you that it never really stops. And going back to milestones, the milestones are important to have a vision of where you want to be. Yep. But once you get there, we have this perception that dreams are unattainable. In the back of our mind, we're not going to tell anyone, but we're like, this is what I want to achieve, and you don't actually think you're going to get there. But when you do, it's you have this weird moment where you're like,
it's deflating a bit almost.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like I thought it was going to feel. It's nice.
Yeah.
I can maybe tell people about it.
Yeah.
But no one cares, really.
Yeah.
And you feel good about yourself, but then you just keep aspiring to reach new heights and new milestones and new goals. So the real gem is actually you reflect back and look at the journey of what you had to do to get to that point. That's what's exciting.
Yeah.
For me, if I had a conversation with Spike like 11, 12 years ago, when I was starting in my room, and I sucked, and I was borrowing my friend's laptop and another friend's guitar, like I had nothing. And I'd be stoked, first of all, because the first goal was to try and create a business where I am able to monetize through what I love.
Yep. I mean, that's the goal, right?
That's the goal.
That's the dream.
And as time goes by, you got to do lots of jobs in between, and then when you go full time, you'll even find within that space, it's like, well, this was the goal, to do this full time. Yeah. And then you're working with maybe clients you don't necessarily want to work with. You're doing jobs you might not really want to do. You're mixing tracks that you don't really like the style, but you have to say yes to everything initially because you need to pay rent and you need to eat. So it's always like this. And one of the pieces of advice I got from Tony Mance, Jack the Bear, was I was going through this transition. I was like having a family, and I was stressed about moving my studio out of my house. It was taking that chance and leaving the nest, and the struggle of just trying to build it, and the stresses that come with that,
Absolutely. I mean, did you find any particular coping mechanisms or anything that you were able to deal with, use to help deal with the low points of that, especially that transition when you're trying to move out and really, I suppose, leave home studio-wise? It's pretty intimidating. And I mean, is there any advice you have for people who might be in that position right now, who are thinking of doing it?
The first thing that Jack the Bear said to me was like, there's no such thing as balance. That was really helpful for me.
Right, which is interesting, because it's like that's what everyone preaches is balance.
We're all fighting for balance, but the reality is, and it was great advice, is that there's no such thing as balance. Sometimes you're going to have more demand on your family life. Maybe someone in the family's sick, maybe someone passed away. So then it goes like this.
Yeah.
Then there's going to be other times where this is all sweet, and then you got like all this time for music. There'll be times where it's like this, and you're like, wow, everything is perfect right now. Yeah. I want to maintain this. And then as soon as that breaks, you're miserable again, because you have this expectation of, okay, I got to balance this, and you can't. It's impossible. Yeah. So when you break that expectation of like the perfect balance, you're actually kinder to yourself.
Yeah.
So my advice that I got is, there is going to be no point of you potentially moving to a studio space where you feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And being a creative and a producer or an artist is very uncomfortable a lot of the time, most of the time. And it's the adversity that actually builds you up and makes you stronger. The most important things, which I always love to talk about, is like your mental health and your physical health. Those things got to be in check. So, I mean, for me, when I moved out, I just took a chance. And I asked myself this question: what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
I fail and I move back home.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, that's not going to feel great, but that's the reality, because the idea of me paying rent at home and paying rent at a studio, that was terrifying.
Yeah.
I was like, how am I going to generate? And I initially had to have a part-time job while working in the studio. So
did you have a kid at the time
so
as well?
I had a kid. I remember my missus is like, you know, it's fine when you have clients over, we'll just go to the park.
Yeah.
And in my head, that was funny because I wanted to have lots of clients. So I'm like, she's going to be spending most of the day at the park. It's not going to work. So when I moved out, firstly, having someone who's been in the industry for a long time, just saying to me, do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I could have said that to myself, but just to know that someone's got my back.
Yep.
Like, do it. If it doesn't work, you know, come talk to me, I got you. And I really try to push that forward. I'm very, anyone who needs support or I can see working hard, I'm 100% happy to be part of that journey. You know, when people are hitting me up, like every week, interns, I love your studio, I really want to work there. You know, I hate that email. And and at the beginning, I used to like call these kids or speak to them and be like, you haven't listened to anything I've ever done. You don't know anything that I do. You've just Google searched studios. You're never going to get an internship like that. And it's hard.
I feel like a lot of the time it's just so that they can have that social media shot.
Maybe, or maybe they genuinely want the experience of seeing someone who's doing it full time. And I get that. I think I hit up 50 studios.
Yeah, so did I.
When I started. Maybe got 2 replies. One of the replies was from a guy called Jimmy Moratis who did the avalanches and a whole bunch of other stuff. And he just sent me back this really sweet email. I still haven't had had a coffee with you. I'd really like to do that.
You know you're watching as well.
This is I hope so. This is 11 years ago.
Yeah.
And he just wrote me this really sweet, short, concise email. Spike, just take your time. Take your time, build it slowly. It's better that way than popping off fast because you'll come down like a ton of bricks. And that was amazing advice. And also just to get one email back from someone in the profession, which is how I think of myself now, like when those kids email and they really, if they write a good email, which is rare, but something to recognize like they're not just trying to get in the studio, but they actually like the work or they know about this, or you know what I mean? It's about making human connection, which we still really struggle with. Absolutely,
I had a similar experience with Pony Music. I don't know if you heard of Pony Music in the southeast in Hallam.
Sure.
The same thing, I sent out 50 emails, got one reply from them, and he invited me to the studio. He was like, come around, man, I'll show you the studio. So I went there, and he's like, this guy here is an intern, and he makes cables all day for us.
Wow.
He brings my coffee.
That's hard stuff.
And he's like, do you know how to make cables and stuff? And I was at the time like, not really.
Yeah, I can make coffee.
I can make coffee, He goes, well, it's definitely something that you need to, because I had my degree. Yeah. And he's like, I don't care about your degree, mate.
No one does.
Don't care. Yeah. And that was a real eye-opener for me as well, which is good as well, because it's like, I suppose if he hadn't emailed me or if he hadn't responded, I would have been like, okay, well, do I just keep trying? Like, what's going on?
But, I would have killed to be in a space. I would have killed for someone to say yes. But I also take it as like, it made me want it more. Yeah. You know, I looked at my friend's studio when I was 10 years back and I just remember feeling like, damn, I want that. So, you know, people look at the studio now and it's like, oh, damn, I remember that feeling. I've been through all those feelings. And I wish someone took me on and they didn't. And, you know, and the thing with degrees is that a lot of, you know, half my students have done degrees or are doing degrees. Oh, bro, it's a real pain point for me because it's a house deposit you're paying, and I've preached about this heaps, but I'll preach about it again until I'm blue in the face. And it's just like you're paying 40 to 70K, you're already going to be 10 years in debt. Like, if you want a studio like this, it's going to cost you 40, 70, 100K over 10, 11 years. By the time you make that money, you're still paying off your course. And there's so, you know, the internet makes it so accessible. You're learning from guys in these universities, but you can learn from the best in the world. And not just from one. You can go, Andrew Sheps, Jason Joshua, Chad Blake, like whoever tickles your fancy, you can go straight to the source.
Any genre,
and
anything.
You're not paying 40 to 70K.
Yeah.
You'd be lucky to pay $1,000, $300-400 on mixed with the masters. You get access to all the goats.
Yeah.
So I mean, I brought myself up through the internet. I did online courses. I studied. I wrote down notes like I was at uni, and I spent all my money on gear.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel bad for those people that go to these courses for 3 years and then they come to me and I'm not going to say everyone, but a large percentage have no idea what they're doing. That is terrifying.
Absolutely, yeah.
You have paid 40 to 70K, you're 3 years in and you're out the door and you don't know how to mix.
Yeah.
You don't know what the gear does, you don't know how to use plugins, you barely know how to use your DAW. You know, and if you're a producer, song composition, like there's so many elements. Yeah. I just don't know what those guys are doing there.
Absolutely. I mean, I did the same. I went to uni for 3 years, did it. I went to probably the worst uni in Australia.
Yeah.
I'm going to name and shame them because I don't like those guys. It's the Australian Guild of Music. They've been going, like I knew more than the teacher.
Yeah.
And when I'm arguing with the teacher about, I'm sure that's wrong, you kind of second guess yourself. I didn't go to the graduation, didn't get the piece of paper at the end.
Doesn't even matter.
But I met my girlfriend. She was, I met my missus there, so that's a positive. But the only reason why I stayed was because of the social part of it. There was other like-minded people, and that was the only positive thing that I could.
And this is a big issue, man. In our industry, it's super isolating.
It is, yeah.
A lot of people, one of the things that really opened my mind was like, Spike, I really want to go to uni, and I was like, why?
Yeah.
Because of the social aspect.
Yeah.
I'm lonely, and I relate to that. I created this event called Squad Sundays.
Exactly.
Because I was goddamn lonely.
Yeah.
I was like, I just want to hang with other creatives.
Yeah.
I'm going to make this fun. Let's get together, let's share each other's music, let's have some pizza and alcohol, keep it really intimate and fun. And the events were, it was a lot of organizing. But it felt so good to be in a room with like-minded people.
It was so fun, mate.
And I do want to run them again. I just don't have time at the moment. But I have created a new event called Song Labs, where I ran the first one. We're going to try and get some sponsorship from APRA next month. We'll find out.
Nice, yeah.
But it's basically a songwriting workshop using the methods that I've used for the last 11 years. 9 creatives, 3 producers, 3 artists, 3 top liners. We went through all these studios here. We started at MESS, which is a Melbourne Electronic School of Sound or Synthesis or something like that, a warehouse of synths. And it was just the coolest event
that sounds dope,
that I've ever been to, and I would love to run those monthly.
Yeah.
So the thing is, like, a lot of kids are going to school because they want to be a part of something.
Absolutely, yeah. And there's nothing like when you're sitting there thinking about going to, there's nothing better than having someone over your shoulder telling you what's wrong. But you don't necessarily get that at the studio sometimes because you kind of have to do all the studio. Like I went to SAE for a bit. Yeah. And they tell you everything you have to do, but then you have to do it all yourself. Like there isn't really somebody there to help you. Yeah. And it's a bit like I stopped after a month or so because. Yeah.
And collaboration is key, man. Like when you're working with other humans and you're going back and forth, like some of the stuff that I learnt, a lot of the stuff I learned is just through collaborating with people and seeing, like, I'll be like, you sit in the chair, you run it. Yeah. And I'll go at the back, or I'll run it and you go, and just watching how people work and how they do stuff. It can be as simple as like them adding one thing to a door, which you never thought about. Yeah. I remember I had one guy I collaborated with, just the way that he used crash cymbals was not something I ever did. Yeah. So for me, it was like a small learning curve, but those things, actually watching people do it actively together, and the idea of Squad Sunday and Song Labs, and even Squad Sunday, a lot of people started collaborating, just opens so many doors, man, that uni doesn't always offer. Yeah, definitely. It was, it's definitely something that I mean, it would be awesome if you could do something like that, to be honest. I want to. It's just it's just funding. Yeah, it's more funding than time, bro, because I have to pay the other studios to hire. Okay, you know, and then advertising costs, and that's more so the issue, you know. So like being able to pay all the studios fairly. Yep. And the first event I ran, Stephen Mowat downstairs at the Avery and Fraser, they all gave me mates rates.
Yeah.
You know, they did me a solid, and I could get tickets down to $180 for 12 hours in a recording studio being mentored of songwriting. And everyone felt crunched like in a pressure cooker. But the end result, which is on SoundCloud, was just unbelievable.
Yeah.
They did such a good job. And I was super chuffed and proud.
Yep.
I could see them all like stressing and sweating, but the value that you'd get from an event like that, I mean, I would love to have those nationally, at least around Australia.
Yeah. I mean, do you think that, I feel like even 10 years ago, stuff like that just wasn't even around?
Yeah, I mean, even now, bro, there's not many events.
Exactly. I mean, is there anything like with the music industry changing so quickly, is there anything that has affected you as your work and your flow, I suppose, or I mean, is there anything that has affected the way that you do business with the music industry changing, especially with social media?
Yeah.
You know, stuff that we didn't have 10 years ago. I mean, how long have you been doing music for?
I mean, I started when I was like 7 or 8, getting drum lessons, and it just started from there. I was like in music class. I was really good at rhythm. There was a clapping game where you'd win a poster. And I really wanted the poster, and the teacher would clap, you have to clap back. I killed those games. And the teacher said to my dad, he's got really good rhythm, this guy. And so I either, I had the hots for the saxophone because it was gold and sexy, and drums. So I think they let me hold a saxophone. I was like, nah, I think I want to do drums. And it just started from there, man. So I've been drumming since I was super young. I was always obsessed with music lessons, and then I mean, there's a long story after that, which I won't go into now. But I've been doing music since I was very young.
And so you've been in not the industry, but in the field long enough to kind of see changes happen.
100%.
Especially with the social media.
Technological changes are huge. And we as humans don't adapt very well to change. We don't like it. We like feeling comfortable. So it can be hard sometimes to migrate, even with social platforms. It's like, if you grew up with Facebook, you're probably still there. And then, the next generation that's on Instagram, they're mainly on Instagram because all the parents went to Facebook. They're like, I don't want to be there. So I went to Instagram. Then TikTok, that next generation of like 16, 15 below, they're all on TikTok now. And all us Instagrammers were like, oh, fuck TikTok, man. I don't want to be on TikTok. Shit's weird. I mean, you got to be on all of them. So it does affect the way music is consumed. We're in an attention-based or attentionless-based society. I
mean, what's your views on creating a presence on social media? I mean, that seems to be something that is said to be so important because everyone's on social media. I mean, how else are you going to reach people? People don't read the newspaper, people don't really watch TV anymore. What are your views on actually building a presence on social media?
Well, it's attention wars, and it's hard because we all have egos, not following. The music industry is a numbers game. Everything. If you're an artist, how many songs are you putting out there? I always say this to artists, I'm like, go to your favorite artist, because everyone here is wondering why it's not popping off. Go to your favorite artist, and I just want you to go through their discography, scroll. Tell me how long you're scrolling for. It's number game. They have albums upon. You're releasing a track every 3 months. No, it's not going to pop off. So it's the same with socials, really. It's
do you think that's you would apply that to albums? Like, what are your thoughts on albums and sitting on songs?
There's a lot of questions there. Which way you want me to answer?
I know. There is. Yeah.
Do you want me to go social or songs? Because I have opinions on both of them.
Okay, so we'll stick with social for now.
All right.
So, so the presence, online presence.
Yeah,
I mean,
it is hugely important. Let's put it this way: out of sight, out of mind. People know there's a music studio here. But it's about the person who's not looking for it right now. Now, if I'm always front of mind, someone might be like to their friend who maybe is not even interested in it, oh, I'm looking for, you know, there's this one guy, Spike something, check him out, see if you can find, you know, that's how it works. It's got this domino effect.
Yeah.
If I am there all the time and now everyone checks their phones every day, checking it every morning, every night, sometimes disgustingly 7-8 hours a day, whatever. But every social app, we don't know if that person on the other side of the phone likes Instagram or TikTok or Facebook or YouTube Shorts or Snapchat. If I'm on all of those platforms, you're not going to miss me.
Yeah.
Like, there's no point just sticking to one.
Yeah.
So if I'm everywhere, I'm saturating the social media platforms, and I've got your attention. Whether I have it for 1 second or 3 or 7 seconds, or whether you become a fan and you enjoy my content, whether you're like, this Spike guy's a dickhead, I'm going to unfollow him. Like, it doesn't matter, because it is just a numbers game. And the more things that you are releasing, the more relevant you're going to be. And I find it affects my business. The more I'm off social media, there's not as many inquiries. If I'm going hard on socials, I'm getting swept off. And the momentum, the illusion is you're posting and nothing's happening. But the momentum of doing it, the long game, which is hard, because there's days you don't feel like it, that actually starts to create momentum. The algorithm starts to favor you. When I went hard last year for 6 months, Facebook messages me, you've got exposed, I can't remember the wording. You've got extra exposure, or I don't know, like advanced exposure or whatever the hell it is. And they're actually pushing your account to more people. And Facebook and Instagram connected. So suddenly I'm getting 40K views on this post where I played a koto for 15 seconds. So the work pays off, and then people are looking at your back catalogue. It does work. You might hate it, but that's the game right now.
I mean, with social media as well, with that being such a dominant force, you get mental health issues that come with it.
100%.
How do you have advice on how to manage that? Like, because after 100 posts and you're still not getting any views or any interaction or anything, like, you're just beating yourself down. You're like, fuck, maybe I'm just not cut out for this.
That's the ego. 100 posts and your ego is like, you suck. This is shit. No one likes you. You have to. You got to do a lot of work on yourself first of all. To be confident that I'm doing this no matter what. It's hard not to look at the numbers because you want to see that you're pushing forward. I promise you that if you stay consistent, it will. It will. More people will see, more people will interact. You'll start getting into a little niche where you're like, oh, this content seems to be working better. You don't, at the beginning, you just make whatever and regurgitate it. What was the question again?
How do you advise
the mental
how you
health.
can manage that mental health?
If you're not feeling good, log off. There is nothing that I can stress that is more important than your mental health. If you are feeling shit, stop posting. Delete Facebook. I just did this. I took all of January off. I came back February. I'm like, I don't feel like posting. I don't feel like going hard on social right now. And then I started beating myself up. Oh, you're not going to get ahead, blah, blah, blah. And, it's just a terrible spiral. I deleted Facebook for the first time in my life. I was like, I don't want to look at it because it's making me feel negative, watching bad, violent posts and bullshit. And it was just, I was over consuming because I was going hard. So you need to take healthy breaks. And if you're struggling with mental health, there's many ways to combat that. You either go see a therapist, you start meditation, you do sport, you talk to a friend. You're struggling in music, there's people out there like myself who are happy to talk to you on the phone or email you. And there's lots of other people who feel the same way as me. And I get to those places from time to time as well. So it's about just staying in check with people you trust, who love you and you love. And not beating yourself up when you're struggling.
Absolutely.
Because if you are not feeling good, you're not going to want to post. You're not going to want to do that stuff. So you got to make sure you maintain health, whatever that is for you.
Absolutely. It's something that people don't really think about as well.
until it catches up with you.
Until it hits you, yeah.
Yeah, and it can hit you hard, and it feels disgusting. So I know that for me, I need to try and go to the gym 2-3 days a week. Yeah. That makes me feel really good. I love playing tennis. I'll do that 2 days a week if I can, more if I could.
Yep.
You know, taking time outside of music, because this is all I do every day, and I love it, but you got to break it up. The hustle and going hard all the time is just going to make you hate it and sick. Don't make 150, all that bullshit about people making 150 beats a week, and that's all rubbish, man. Yeah. I don't believe that for a second.
No.
What, 1 week you made 150 beats, so then for the rest of the year you're telling people you make 150? Shut up.
You've done it once, so it happens every week.
Be quiet, bro. Like, the results are in the pudding, you know? This is a long game. You got to play for the long game and stop wanting quick results, because it doesn't exist. You're just exposed to a world that celebrates fast, quick results. But if you want to stay here and stay in the lead and do great things, it's a long game.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah, so I want to maybe drift away from mental health, social media, bring back to a question that I did ask before in regards to songs and albums. Yeah. Because you said that, you know, sitting on a song for 3 months, I mean, it's just not going to pop off. It's not going to get you anywhere, really. And I feel like because, you know, back in the 80s and 90s, albums were such a big thing because of the limited sources of stream, like you couldn't really stream music.
Well, how did people consume music then? We went to a CD store,
exactly,
like Sanity, for
so
all the older people.
They kind of had to fit all the songs onto one song.
That's right.
Onto one thing.
And you'd listen to an album. Yeah. You'd go in the store, put on the headphones, and there'd be the hit single on there, and you'd buy the whole album so you could have the single. Yeah. That's just the way we consumed music, and we had Walkmans and CD players. So it really just depends where the attention is, how people consuming music. What, remind me the question again?
So do you recommend
dropping a song every 3 months?
Song, or like sitting on a song and waiting to write other songs so then you can release an album? Or would you just go for, you finish the song and just fucking release it?
So these are the stats, right? There's, last I checked, about 70,000 songs released every day.
Okay.
80% of people on Spotify, new name, think about it, on Spotify, 80% have 50 listeners or less.
Okay.
Yeah. 20% have 50 listeners or more. So if you have 50 listeners or more, you're in the top 20%. I mean, think about that. Yeah. That's exciting.
It is, yeah.
And that's also sad.
Yeah.
That there are 80% of people releasing. So it's just a lot of music that's maybe not top quality, top tier, like music that people are consuming. And there's so much now that it's an attention game. So, I mean, you tell me, if you're dropping a track once every 3 months, what are you doing around that to get people's, you're 1 in 70,000 for that day. You're pushing that song. I mean, it's what I said before about it being a numbers game, and you go through your favorite artists and their catalog. There's either hundreds of singles or 15, 20 albums of work there. Because if there's one song that someone hears and they love it, they're going to go to the back catalog. If you release one song every 3 months and, let's say 12 months later, they hear the fourth song you've released. They're like, oh, I love this song. And they go to the back catalog and you've got 3 songs. And they play the first 15 seconds and they don't like the other 2 and 1 is like, okay. That's it.
Yeah.
There's your opportunity.
They move on.
They don't care about you.
No.
But you got no back catalog.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time I'll hear a song that I love and I'll go through the back catalog and I don't like it, so I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
And other times I hear it, I'm like, ooh, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And I'll go through the catalog, I'm like, oh, I'm listening to this album, this is fire. So I think, to answer your question, that there's no point in making an album, because I'm seeing it happen to my friends. They're spending a couple of years on an album, they release it, and they've been doing that for years, and they're hurt. It's painful. Can you imagine working 2 years on a project and it's not popping off how you envisioned? That's super painful. As an artist, as a human, your ego. So for me, it makes more sense right now to be pumping out singles regularly. If you can, once a week. If you can't, once every 2. If you can't, once a month. At least, that's 12 songs a year, which is still not a whole lot, but that's better than nothing. For me, I'm working with an artist right now called Sir Augie, super talented. We went slow last year, just building our relationship, learning about what sounds we like. And this year, since February, because we have a healthy relationship, we said, let's go hard. So we're writing one song every week. Every Thursday night we meet, it takes us about 3.5 hours to clock a song. I'll do the production, he'll write the lyrics. He's as fast as me when it comes to writing lyrics and melodies as I can produce. So together, and that's, it's taken me 5 artists to find that type of collaborator who wants to work as hard as me. I've said it to other artists, let's do one song a week. They didn't want it. I can't force them. So you both have to want the same things. So we've got about 13 songs now in the bag. And you can't be precious about the song. You work 1 year or 6 months on one song. These artists are like, I've done the video, I've done this, it's so much work, it comes out, pops off, nothing happens. That's painful.
Yeah. It is, yeah.
So we gotta find a healthier relationship with songwriting and releasing and putting it in the world, letting it go and moving on.
Yeah, it's so easy now to release a song.
It's so easy, and we're all too precious about, oh, this is my art.
Yeah.
This is important.
Yeah.
This is a message from my heart.
Yeah,
this is who I am. Because these bad things, it's like, everyone feels that way, man. But pump them out if you can. Find a way to get more stuff out there. And each one is a lottery ticket. You don't know which one you're going to scratch and it's going to pop off. You don't know which is the best song until the fan base will tell you. So we're going to try and drop 1 track a week. We've got 13 in the bag. I'm not going to wait 2 years.
No. Have you released those songs, or are you just going to...
We haven't yet. We're about to start. But and so we got 13 ready.
Yeah.
So that means we have 13 weeks leeway.
Exactly, yeah.
If I get sick for a week or he gets sick for a couple, or we still are ahead.
Absolutely.
So that's how we can be sure that we can keep up this pace. 1 a week, 1 every 2 weeks. And I think that's the best way to go. As an independent artist, if you keep pumping out and you get a fan, they're going to be checking in with you every week because you got new content.
Absolutely.
It keeps it interesting.
Yeah.
And I also think in terms of an album, a piece of work, I love an album, but I'm seeing a lot of big major artists now release albums with lots of different genres.
Yeah.
Never happened before.
Yeah.
Macklemore released his album. He's got like 3-4 pop songs, 3 hip hop bangers, some of this, some of that, you know, because now people are worried. People are wanting to get placements, Netflix, publishing. There's lots of money to be won. And the more genres and styles you have, you can appeal to a larger audience because it's a single generation.
Well, exactly, yeah. You're not... If you release an album with different genres now, you're not restricted to constantly listening to the same songs on a CD.
If you've got an album,
add your favourite song to your playlist and that's it.
And if you've got an album that all sounds the same and they listen to the first 10-15 seconds of 3 songs, they're like, nah, it's not for me. But if it like changes up through the whole album, there's got to be one there that's going to appeal when our attention spans of 3 to 5 seconds.
Yeah, you know? Definitely, yeah.
Because I know in 3 to 5 seconds if I'm rocking with the song or not. And if I'm not rocking with it, I don't know you. I got no emotional connection to what you've been through in your life. And I just want a good song that makes me feel something.
Absolutely, yeah.
If the music or the vocal doesn't make me feel something in the first part of it, I'm on to the next one.
Yeah. Would you say that your opinion is the same for music videos in the sense that I mean, artists used to spend a lot of money.
Yeah, waste of time, waste of money.
Whereas now you can just do a 15-second video and that's all people would like.
Yeah, well, take your song and run it on TikTok and all the social media. It's free.
Yeah.
Why are you going to spend $1,000-$2,000 or more on a video clip when 200 people on YouTube might watch it?
Yeah.
Or even 4,000. I feel like if you don't have momentum and a rising fan base,
there's no point.
that is a waste of resources.
Yeah.
That money can be spent elsewhere. I'd rather if you told me I'm going to make a video clip and you've got 50 listeners or less, or you got no following, I would say, bro, take that money, make me around the song 20 TikToks, 30 TikToks in the next month. Pick whatever number you want, see which one gets the best reach out of your 30 TikToks, put $500 on that.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't that make sense,
absolutely,
right?
Yeah.
That is obviously working. That's connecting with people. Place your money, bet your money on that.
Yeah.
You're putting money into a video clip. I just think that's ancient now.
It is, yeah.
Put your money in a video clip when you know it's going to get 100,000 views and you might monetize from YouTube. I mean, that could be my unpopular opinion, but I think
it makes sense. I mean, long form videos they appear to be less and less popular. On the complete, opposite side, you got podcasts that are getting more popular. But yeah, in terms of like 3 to 5 minute videos for a song.
Well, look at songs now as well. Sorry to interrupt you, but songs are what, 2 minutes 30?
Exactly, yeah.
I was listening to a Michael Jackson record. The song goes for 6 minutes.
Yeah.
I was like, this is a long song.
Yeah.
2 minutes 30 because
attention span's less.
Yeah, we don't want a bridge anymore.
Absolutely.
We want a chorus. And even the style of writing, it's like chorus used to be the hook. The whole song is the hook now.
Yeah.
Your intro better hook me.
Yeah.
There's no time for a long intro. Get straight to it.
Yeah.
You can even come in with the chorus now.
Yeah.
So it's like you need to put your best foot forward. How are you going to get people's attention in 5 seconds? People aren't thinking about that because people are involving too much ego.
Yeah.
You can still write with your heart and soul. I'm not saying just commercial, sell out, write crap what you think works for TikTok.
Yeah.
Still write a great song, but put the best part of the song first.
Yeah.
Because if it's not great in the beginning, next.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I suppose before we wrap up, I wanted to ask you about, so I'm all about like personal level, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love stories. Stories are like, I love watching podcasts at night. I love watching people tell stories.
Cool.
It just fascinates me. Is there anything that has ever happened in your career that has really imprinted something in your brain on a comical level? Is it funny? Like, is there any characters that you've met that you were like, wow, this guy's really interesting?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you how I met Prince.
Thank you so much for sticking around this far. We're just about to listen to Spike's Prince story, how we met Prince. Before we get into that, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, comment, do all that good stuff, support. And yeah, we'll delve right back into it. This is Spike on how he met Prince.
So basically, I think it was like 2012. And I just bought some tickets to this Prince concert. I was super, super psyched. And I went to Rod Laver Arena. I think I bought one of the first tickets. I was like really close into the kind of just not on the floor, but in the first seats.
Yeah.
And he did like 3-hour concert with the NPG band, New Power Generation band, I think it was. Yeah. And it was super dope. It was dope. And they just rocked and rolled for 3.5 hours. And I was like blown away, and it was crazy. It was a crazy experience for me just to see him live. It was my first time. I still got the Prince. Wait, hold up.
You're right. Yeah.
Look, check it out. Oh. Here it is. So yeah, it was 2012.
Oh fuck.
Prince, lowest C. Beat 372. Yeah, so
that was, how much was that?
Focus. Yep. $180.
$180.
It's worth that. Yeah, worth every penny. But yeah, I went to see Prince. It was super exciting, but I knew that Prince has these kind of like underground shows, like he calls them after parties or whatever. And so I was like asking around heaps, trying to find out where that's going to be, and no one knows until last minute. And so I had a friend at the time who had an ear to ground, and I think it was a few nights later because he had a few shows in Melbourne, I think it was. And then I went to bed. It was about 12 at night, and I got a phone call. Spike, I just heard that Prince is he's going to playing his after party and it's late. I was like, okay. Like I was excited, but I just got into bed. I was ready for sleep, and I was like, okay, this is now. And I think within like 30 seconds, I was dressed and in the car.
Yeah.
And I just spent down there. I went down to the city in Bennett's Lane. It's like this dark, parked the car. There was absolutely no one there. It was a dark alleyway. And I went down the alleyway, and there were just these like closed gates. And so I was like, okay, it's probably not happening. And I knocked the gates, and this like 6'7", 6'8" security guard came out. And I'm like, hey man, is Prince playing here tonight? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, okay, what is 10 years ago as well? And I'm like, so what's the deal? And he's like, goes to me, it's $300. I was like, oh shit. And at the time I was scraping by. I think I just started my music studio. So I wasn't really earning any money from that. And I had the second where I was like, okay, $300 is a lot of money.
Yeah.
Either this guy's just going to take my money and I'm going to lick my wounds, or Spec, you're about to see Prince at an after, like, so I sprinted down to the ATM. I ran as fast as I could. I don't know why, because I wasn't in there, but I was just like scared the opportunity was just going to dissipate and disappear.
Yeah.
So I ran down, I took out $300. And I was like, stuff it. Let's just see what happens. So I ran back, and I'm like, here you go, man. Here's the $300 cash. I gave it to him, followed it up, and went back in the gate. And I was like, okay, I'm like, what's next? He's like, wait here. And so I reckon I was waiting for about 45 minutes, and slowly people started rolling up. So I was like, okay, I think this is actually happening. It was about 40, 50 people. Okay. And then they open the gates, so they come in. I think it was about, it was like 12:45, 1 in the morning.
Yep.
And we rolled into Bennett's Lane, small place. I think there was about 50, 60 people rocked in the end. And after about 15 minutes, the MPG band rolled out, and they came through and they just started jamming. So like all these backup singers, drums, bass, guitar, and yeah, it was crazy. And I was literally sitting this far away from like, the microphones, the stage. I was on the stage.
Yeah.
And just sitting on the floor. And after about 30 minutes of them jamming, lo and behold, Prince walks out. And it was just it was just mind blowing. Like, it's been at Rod River Arena a couple of nights ago, and you're kind of like quite far from the stage. And I was like, right. Prince is like, Prince is a handshake away. Yeah. And so anyway, they did this crazy show. It went for 3.5 hours till about 4 or 5 in the morning. And it was just unbelievable. Prince was playing drums, he was playing guitar, he was playing keys, he was singing, and they just kind of swapping instruments and just jamming. It was just so wild. And I have some Prince footage. So I took out my phone, started filming, and then they started confiscating telephones. I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know why I said telephones. They started confiscating mobiles. Yeah, telephones. Like anyway. So yeah, I got some Prince footage. I still have it on my computer. I'll send it to you, and then you can maybe play it at the end of the thing.
Sure, man.
And yeah, they're just not allowing anyone to do any filming of any kind, because Prince didn't like to be filmed, which is just like a bit of a contradiction. But anyway. And yeah, there was this moment within the show. Prince was like on the side of the stage with his backup singer, just kind of like taking a break and just chilling. And I was like, this is the moment. I'm going to meet Prince. And it was so casual. So I had my little Prince hits of all time album on me, and I like got a pen, and I was with my friend. I'm like, let's go meet Prince. And so I walked up the side of the stage, and I'm like, hey Prince, It's just like
Yeah,
so,
what do
it
you
was
call
so
him,
awkward.
Prince?
Yeah, it's like, can I call you Prince? I mean, that's your name. It was
Yeah.
like a weird experience. And I'm like, look, man, can I have your autograph on this album? I really appreciate it. And he took the album and he took the pen and he kind of looked at me, and then he like looked at his backup singer, he looked at me, looked at his backup singer, and then he like dropped the album in the ground. And I was kind of like standing there and like, I was obviously confused. I was like, the fuck? I'm like, do you want me to get for you? Like, what's going on right now? And he picked it up and he like gave it back to me. He's like, sorry, man, I can't sign this. And I was like, why?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, sorry, dude, I can't. He like shook my hand, and I kind of stood there a little bit stunned, like, oh, I wasn't expecting that scenario.
Yeah.
And I did some research later, and the research I found is because he is a Jehovah's Witness, he doesn't believe in idolizing people.
Okay.
Which is also a contradiction. It's like, dude, you're Prince. You've made your livelihood off people being fans of what you. So yeah, I mean, this experience. Obviously, I haven't washed my hand for 10 years, and yeah, it was just like
that's such a good story.
It was crazy. Yeah, it was a crazy story, and I think like a couple years later, like he passed away, and I was like, I think at his last piano concert in Australia, which he didn't end up going to, but just that experience, it was like $300, and it was just like,
was it worth it?
It was just one of the best Oh, bro,
absolutely.
It was like one of the best experiences I ever had.
Did you see anyone else there
in such an intimate setting?
Yeah.
Like famous people?
Yeah. Like I'd imagine there'd be like, I don't know, what's that dude off Sunrise? Is that Richard Wilkins? I feel like he would have been there.
I have no idea. I think it was like
Molly Melton.
Look, it was like a handful of people.
Yeah,
50, absolutely. 60 people. It wasn't the older guys, it was the younger ones, you know. I was in my mid-20s, and it was like 1 till 5 in the morning. I'm 10 years older now. I'm in bed by 10 o'clock. So, I probably wouldn't be getting up at 12, 1 o'clock to go to a private Prince show. Maybe I would, but still, yeah, I mean, it was a crazy experience, and I was like super inspired. I literally got to watch about 7-8 hours in total of Prince that week live, and just seeing the musicians, and unpopular opinion, Prince isn't as good a drummer as I thought he would be. I mean, he can find his way on the drums.
It's probably because he's better at all the other.
He killed the piano. Yeah, he killed keys. He killed the guitar, electric guitar, and bass. He was just like crazy, and drums. He was all right.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just like one of those beautiful experiences that I'll remember forever. I'll tell my kids, I'll be like, yeah, I met Prince back in my day. I'll be like, Dad, you're so old and uncle. No one cares about Prince, man.
Prince is now being taught in history, mate. He's part of the history lesson.
Yeah. Yeah, well, my dad's like, my dad says to me now, which is still kind of cool, is like, I had dinner with Paul McCartney, and I went to David Bowie's after party and got to shake his hand. He's a really lovely guy. Which, when I was younger, I was like, okay, I don't care. But now obviously, I'm like, wow, that's super dope. My son's name is Ziggy, so there you go.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, that's awesome, dude.
Ziggy Stardust.
Thank you so much for sharing that story, brother. It's such a fun story. I love hearing those stories, because it's like, I mean, I feel like it's almost, Prince has, I suppose, shaped you how you are. Yeah, I mean, he's such a big influence in your life and in your music, and
100, bro.
Yeah. So it's
I mean, he just like amazing musician, and he just had so much fun with it, and just his songwriting ability and doing a bit of everything, that's definitely inspired me as a musician and an instrumentalist, and just trying to get across guitar and obviously drums and keys and all the different instruments, and infusing that into my production.
Yeah, for sure.
100% a big influence. Yeah.
Is there anyone who, like, did you ever get a chance to see Michael Jackson live?
I got to see Michael Jackson in, I think, 98 History Tour, I think it was. And that is pretty much the first and last time I've ever been starstruck because Michael Jackson was one of my biggest inspirations growing up as a lot of kids. I was like lucky not to meet him, I guess, after everything that we've heard, because if he invited me to Never Neverland, I would have gone. I mean, I was like at the MCG, I was super far away. I had some binoculars, but I just remember feeling so overwhelmed by the music. Back then, superstardom was a real thing. It's not like today where there's no mystery. We see Justin Bieber pissing in a pot plant. Yeah, I mean, it's like takes the romanticism or mystery, or I don't know. It takes a coolness away. I think there's something cool about being mysterious. People like Frank Ocean and Beyonce, we don't really know much about their private life. I really like that about an artist, that it's just about the music. So with Michael Jackson, man, I was just blown away by the energy and the music, and that guy was so powerful that he could stand on a stage and just look to the right and not do anything. And people would be fainting and passing out because just the energy that this guy was able to resonate and just put out was so powerful. It was really incredible. That was like one of the most profound experiences I had from listening to music. You're just kind of so overwhelmed as what I must have been like 9 years old, 10 years old or something. That was crazy for me.
That's awesome, brother. Thank you. Thanks so much. We'll wrap it up there. Thanks heaps for
no stress, brother,
coming back and finishing off the story. Hopefully, we'll get on it again, maybe have another discussion some point in the near future.
Man.
But yeah, thanks so much. Go check out Spike. If you want to plug your stuff, man, go for it. If you got anything you got.
I got nothing to plug. I mean, I'm Spike. I like making music. You want to rock with me, come through and hit me up. And I'm just like I'm really big on trying to support the Melbourne community and songwriters and creative. And I all keeps about mental health and, keeping a fit mind and body in whatever capacity and whatever that means to you, because that really helps us enhance our creativity and move forward. So, I practice what I preach, and I just want to make great music with like-minded people. That's it.
Awesome, man.
Thanks for having me, brother.
Sounds good, man. Thank you. Thanks again, man. I'll let you go. I hope you have a good day, man. I appreciate you coming on, and
cheers, dude.
Yeah, man.
So good.